Hello and welcome to the Full of Football podcast. This is the first episode and basically the restart of Fantasy Brothers, but we're sorry that we haven't been able to get some episodes out. We've had a lot of scheduling difficulties between me and my brother, so it's looking like we're just going to split this podcast back into just a football podcast with either me or my brother on, and we're going to have a special guest here. So I'm Austin Thomas.
I'm Connor Lewick.
And this episode is the conference championship episode. Obviously, we just had the divisional round last week, so we're going to go over some of those games and see about this next week. So let's start off with the injury report. All right. So on the injury report, first and foremost, we have probably the biggest injury we've seen maybe all season outside of Saquon Barkley, Von Miller, and some of these other guys earlier in the season. But this one, huge playoff implications. Patrick Mahomes has a concussion and might be out for the Bills game.
I don't know if he's going to be able to come back for the Bills game. I don't know how severe this concussion is, but Chiefs fans are praying for him to be back. Bills fans, they're happy. They are celebrating up in Buffalo.
Yes, they are. I personally think that he will be able to return.
I hope so. He's just an exciting young player, and it just sucks that he had to get out with that, especially in a playoff game.
Mm-hmm. But Chad Henne's replacement, pretty good in his replacement, especially for that huge hype that he had to live up to, and
honestly,
keeping that alive against that tough Browns team, especially that run at the end. Ooh, that's something we'll have to talk about later. But next on the injury report, we had Bashaud Breeland, also in for the Kansas City Chiefs. He got a concussion. He, I believe, is probably out for the Buffalo Bills game, which is a huge hit for the Chiefs defense, which already lost Rashad Fenton. Is Deandre Baker playing, do you know?
Oh, no, I think he injured his tibia, broke it, so he won't be able to play. But I do believe L'Jarius Sneed's going to be able to step up. That kid is going to be something special for the Chiefs.
Yes. Definitely. L'Jarius Sneed and Charvarius Ward's still there, so Chiefs still got two good options, but they're weakening on that cornerback depth. So
definitely going to need Danny Sorensen to pull up, too.
Definitely.
That fumble.
Yeah, that secondary is going to need to be good against this Bills team. All right, and then next in the New Orleans Saints versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we had Deontay Harris, the star returner for them. He left early on with a neck injury. I mean, it hurt to see. He was hitting some notes there at the start of the playoffs and up to that start of the game, and then he gets that neck injury, and it's just painful to see. And obviously the Saints are eliminated, so it's not gonna hurt any future games. But you hope that he gets better. And I don't know. How would you say that affected the outcome of the game?
It definitely affected it. I don't know if the Saints had any good returns after he had gotten out, because he had a touchdown called back after a legal block in the back by the Saints. But they just didn't get any good field position. It didn't set up Drew Brees right. And Jameis Winston, he showed flashes of pretty great, I would even say greatness on that touchdown pass. That was insane. I mean, Drew Brees' potential last season sucks to go out that way. But Jameis Winston, bright future, and maybe New Orleans, maybe not. But the Saints, they might be declining.
Saints are definitely on the downturn. I don't think that's really much of a question.
Their cap space is you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's just how much of a downturn are they going to be on, though?
Exactly. I mean, you don't know. I mean, they're either going to stay average or they're just going to be the next Browns.
I mean, they very well could be. I mean, nobody wants to be the 2016 Browns.
Exactly.
Let's be real here. 2017, 2016. Oh God, nobody wants to be that.
I don't think they'd be the 2016 Browns. I think they'd be the 2008 Lions, because they've just been mediocre their entire franchise.
I could definitely see that. I could see them becoming more like a Lions team. But obviously, you don't want that to happen. And depending on how the future drafts go for them and free agent acquisitions and trades. I mean, who knows if they make the right trades, if they trade Michael Thomas at the right time, if they trade Alvin Kamara before. I mean, hopefully Alvin Kamara will be able to stick around while the next time they contend. I mean, he looks to be good for at least another 6 years.
Running backs are the most replaceable position in the league, as they say. But Alvin Kamara can't be replaced for New Orleans.
No.
they haven't seen anything like him in a very long time. So they need to keep him.
No, there isn't a receiving back like him. I would say he's the best receiving back outside of Christian McCaffrey.
100%. No doubt about it.
I think Christian McCaffrey is the best. I think we can agree on that. But he's just injured.
He's just injured.
Alvin Kamara is not injured. That's the difference between them. And that's why I'd say Alvin Kamara is potentially the most valuable running back in the league right now.
Besides Derrick Henry.
I don't know. Maybe even more than Derrick Henry. I mean, again, that's debatable.
Do you see what happened against the...
I did, yes.
Against the Ravens. Derrick Henry wasn't able to get going, and they just lost. They just couldn't do anything. Ryan Tannehill... Derrick Henry makes Ryan Tannehill good.
Yes, but the thing is, he didn't get going, which is the problem.
Exactly.
Because if he can't get going, then your team is bad. And if he doesn't get going, then he's not as valuable of a player.
He's valuable because he's the reason they win those games. He's the reason why Ryan Tannehill gets going. He is the best player on that team. He's the best running back in the National Football League. No doubt about it.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I definitely think McCaffrey, Kamara, Henry. Henry at 3.
Oh,
Kamara.
This season, Derrick Henry was the best.
This season, yes. He was.
And I say
I think talent-wise, Kamara is better.
Maybe. Derrick Henry doesn't have any weapons on his team. Besides A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill's a very overrated quarterback, in my opinion. Alvin Kamara had Drew Brees throwing it to him. Christian McCaffrey was injured, so we didn't get a good look at him. But I still think Derrick Henry's better.
Okay, let's put this out there. Did you see that last game that Drew Brees had? Did you see that?
He's been washed. He's washed.
He has been washed.
He has been washed.
It's been Alvin Kamara that's made him look good early in the season.
I wouldn't even say look good. He's just been pretty awful this season.
Well, it's the reason he didn't look like a Mr. Irrelevant.
I mean, I'm still going to go with Henry just because what he's done this season, but you can go ahead and say
okay. Well, let's get back on track here to the injury reports. We got off on the Saints there a little bit. Sorry, Saints fans, but you do have a bright future in Alvin Kamara and Ryan Ramczyk, but yeah. So anyway, let's get on into the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, their tackle, Jedrick Wills, and then the replacement tackle for him also got injured. Yeah, he had to come out later in the game, but the main one, Jedrick Wills, the 9th overall pick?
Something like that.
It's something like that, a very high pick in this year's draft. He left with an ankle injury, and I think that was huge in determining the outcome of that game, because that game near the end got close, but the Chiefs were able to come up big on defense and got some good pass rush, and Baker did not feel comfortable, but if Jedrick was there, maybe we'd be seeing the Browns versus the Bills in the conference championship this week. I think that is very probable if he was still there.
Jedrick Wills is definitely an upcoming offensive lineman that you want to watch out for. He's going to be very good in his near future. I think this is a minor setback for a major comeback.
Definitely, and I think that Browns offensive line is going to be scary for some
Especially
years.
with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they're just going to be running the ball everywhere. They won't even need Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, if they can get a good blocking tight end, though, I mean...
They got to trade Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper is basically a glorified wide receiver.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. Njoku is more of a tight end.
Oh, yeah.
Njoku, I think, is who should be sticking around there.
Exactly.
I'd say Austin Hooper is similar to Kyle Pitts. I don't know if you
I know
much
Kyle
into the
Pitts.
draft.
Yeah, I'd say so. Kyle Pitts doesn't really block. That's kind of what caused Florida to lose against Bama at LSU. I mean, you just gotta have someone to block. Florida didn't have that. Cleveland didn't have it.
And talking about Kyle Pitts, maybe a team drafts him and plays him at wide receiver, actually. I mean, I could definitely see that.
I'd look at Carolina. I feel like they could possibly trade back if they feel comfortable with Teddy Bridgewater. But we're going to save our mock.
Yeah, we're going to save that for the off-season special. So, and into the last big injury, we had Lamar Jackson leaving the game early for the Ravens, and obviously that hurt them. They did not look good at all. 3 points. 3!
You just hate to see it. I mean, that Bills defense is really good, but they're just the way Sean McDermott was able to recover from... He's just pretty good at game planning, as you can see. He just shut down that Ravens offense, made Lamar Jackson pass the ball, and got pressure on Lamar, too. It was just, what is the Ravens didn't have an answer, and I don't blame them because that game plan by Sean McDermott was just off the charts.
It was beautiful. Yes, I mean that was something to watch.
But you hate to see Lamar go down. He's a young star. Same with Mahomes. I mean, it just sucks, especially in the playoffs. But Mahomes' backup was able to get it done.
I don't know. For the Ravens here, even if Lamar was available for the rest of that game, do you think they would have won?
No.
I would have to agree with you there.
They weren't able to get the ball moving, and if they did, Lamar threw a pick, or the ball got turned over, or something just stupid happened, and you just can't have that happen in a playoff game.
Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is going to close out our injury report. So with that, let's get right on into last week's matchups. All right, so last week's matchups. Let's start off with the 3 o'clock game on Saturday. We had the Green Bay Packers defeat the Los Angeles Rams 32-18. I think this was a beautiful game from the Packers. And Mr. Rogers here, he had quite a game himself.
I don't think the Rams defense got on the flight to Green Bay.
I
don't think it happened. I don't know what happened. Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Ramsey, they just weren't there. I mean, you're in the biggest matchup of your year and you just don't play defense. You can't rely on that offense to win you games. This isn't 2018 anymore, Los Angeles. You don't have the best offense in the league. You have the best defense. You need to play defense. Don't rely on Jared Goff to throw the ball. Cam Akers, absolute beauty of a game, but you can't come back by running the ball. It's just, the Rams gave that game to Green Bay. It was just a horrible game by Sean McVay.
I do think, though, to be fair, Goff, his stat line didn't look bad.
Oh, it wasn't.
It wasn't. I think they just kept having those like 3-and-outs.
Exactly.
Or something like that that would just end the drive.
Drives just stalled.
They'd get somewhere and then it'd be like, you just can't finish it. But yeah, Jared Goff, 21 for 27, 174 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Stat line looked pretty good, but it definitely could have been better. I feel like that thumb definitely had something to do with that game.
I think having Cooper Kupp out was also a big problem, but I like the way Van Jefferson had stepped in, got 46 receiving yards and a touchdown. I just think that was a great step in for Cooper Kupp. I mean, Cooper Kupp best or second best wide receiver on your team. He gets replaced by Van Jefferson, who just comes into Green Bay and proves that he can be a good wide receiver in this league.
Mm-hmm. And some of the other stat lines, we had Robert Woods grab 8 receptions for only 48 yards, no touchdowns. That was a little bit of a weak night for him, but a little bit of a stronger night. Josh Reynolds, 3 receptions for 65 yards, no touchdowns. Not bad, but the 3 receptions means that he really wasn't that big of a target.
I like Cam Akers. He's going to be something special in this league. I mean,
oh yes,
18 rushes, 90 yards, and a touchdown against a solid Green Bay defense who played good this entire game. I mean, that's something special.
And some of you might remember, way earlier in the season, or before the season even started, I had predicted that Cam Akers was going to win Rookie of the Year. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen. We've had some big issues. But he has shown that he would have had the ability to win Rookie of the Year had he been given more playing time earlier in the year. And so, not to toot my own horn, but actually kind of to, I was quite right there. He ended last game with 18 carries for 90 yards, 1 touchdown for that stat line for you. So a pretty good game from Akers, but team ends up losing. Who cares? Next season, though, does look bright for Akers, but that cap space you were talking about on the New Orleans Saints, I'd say the Rams might be debatably even worse.
Really?
So, yeah,
I think the Saints have the worst in the league. They're like 90 mil above, but I think the Rams might be coming in close with that. So
the Rams aren't there yet, but they have a bunch of guys that are going to be asking for that sometime soon, especially after they gave the bag to Woods and Kupp just at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so let's go on to Green Bay's side. Green Bay had a beautiful game. Aaron Rodgers, as I said, 23 for 36, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Beautiful game played by Aaron Rodgers there. He destroyed that Rams defense. His stat line may not look absolutely insane, but he sure played like it. I mean, he looked like he was in his prime. I mean, he looked like he has all season.
But I think the only problem with this is while people were watching the game, it was like near the end of the second half, Aaron Rodgers threw it deep like 2 times in a row. Both basically dropped interceptions. That was my only problem with Aaron Rodgers, but otherwise he was beautiful. I mean, absolutely masterpiece of a game by him.
Well, I don't think it wasn't only him. Also, we got the run game involved. Aaron Jones running 14 times for 99 yards and a touchdown.
I don't think he'll be in Green Bay next year. I think they'll let him go.
Honestly, I think they're gonna let Jamal Williams or AJ. They're gonna keep AJ Dillon because he's on contract.
100%.
Well, he's on contract. But Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams, that's basically the question. I think they want to make AJ Dillon the starter. I think they do.
They do. 100%.
So I think they're gonna.
This is just another proven point of running backs being so replaceable. Aaron Jones, he's being replaced by rookie AJ Dillon, who's shown potential only 1 season, but he got hurt.
Yeah, AJ Dillon though, I don't know. I might be a little bit off here, but he seems in the archetype of Derrick Henry. He's not as good. I'm not saying he's as good. He's definitely not, and he's definitely not as big. But he is in the same archetype. Like, he is a power back that has speed, who can break off for huge yardage. Mm-hmm. And I think that's huge. If he can develop, I think A.J. Dillon could be possibly even better than Aaron Jones is right now. So I think it would be in Green Bay's best interest to let Aaron Jones walk, keep that cap space for something else, and maybe after Rodgers retires, they're able to re-sign Jordan Love for a cheaper. They're going to be able to sign him for a cheaper contract.
Do you think the Packers how do they feel about drafting Jordan Love now? Because Aaron Rodgers is still very good at football.
Yes, this I've seen has been sparked a debate recently. Personally, I think Aaron Rodgers, he's still got 2 good years left. I don't think he has much more than that. I think they're going to start him that 3rd year after now. So what is that going to be? 2021 to 2022 season? 22 to 23?
22
so the 23 to 24 season. I think he's going to get the start for the first half of the season, but I think the second half of the season, that's when Jordan Love comes in.
Do you think they're doing what they did with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, 100%.
Do you think that's what they think they can do? Do you think Jordan Love's going to be able to pull off?
I think Jordan Love has talent unlike we haven't seen. We haven't seen his talent. Mm-hmm. He has been benched, and he is going to be I'm guessing that the Packers are going to play him as the backup quarterback next season. I think that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping that he's able to outperform Tim Boyle. That way he can get reps possibly week 17. He's going to be getting a lot of reps in the preseason, so we're going to be getting to see him as long as the preseason is still around this year. I think we'll actually have a preseason this year. I think it definitely hurt his development not having that preseason this first year, and that's going to suck for him. But the question, if I think he's going to be able to live up to Rodgers and Favre, I don't think he's going to. I mean, that's very tough to live up to. Yeah. But I do think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I just don't know if he's going to be Hall of Fame Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people could agree with me on that. Kid's got talent. He could prove me wrong. He could be in the same conversation as Rodgers.
He definitely could.
But that's something that we'll have to see, and we probably won't see for a while. So I guess we might be looking back on this episode a few years down the road and be looking back at,
be
like, oh yeah,
he's either going to be very good, or he's just going to be an absolute bust of a pick, and we're going to be like, did we really say he was going to be good? What was going through our minds?
Yeah, I feel like that's how it's going to be. He's either going to be awful, good, or amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like he's not just going to be bad. He's not going to be like Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky's kind of like on that line of just like you don't want him.
I think Mitch Trubisky could do good with good weapons. Allen Robinson was his only weapon.
Well, Darnell Mooney did perform pretty well.
He was a pretty good rookie, but I don't think they had a solid run game. I don't know. We should probably move on to the next game.
All right. Yeah. Well, let me finish out with the stat lines here. You had Allen Lazard, 4 receptions for 96 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 9 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown. Rashawn Gary had 1.5 sacks, and Kenny Clark had 1.5 sacks too. Great on the defensive pressure there. Made sure that Jared Goff wasn't feeling comfortable after coming off injury. Let's get on into our next game. We had the Buffalo Bills defeat the Baltimore Ravens 17-3. Whew.
this was a horrible game by Baltimore. I mean, Sean McDermott had an answer for everything they tried. They shut down that run game, beginning of the game, and it just couldn't get going. I mean, Dobbins had 10 rushes for 42 yards. Edwards, 10 rushes, 42 yards. It just couldn't get going. Lamar, 9 rushes for 34 yards. No touchdowns. Lamar needs to learn how to pass the ball more because that's the way they're going to be able to win playoff games.
Yes, 100%. I think Lamar has shown flashes of being a good quarterback. He's never shown anything more than, like I mentioned, Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
He has never shown anything more than that. Outside of the run game. The run game, he is the best quarterback in the league, running-wise. And because of that, he is a good quarterback because they don't want to, they're going to try and pressure the run, which will give him more options to throw to, which makes him look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Which, yes, that's good. That is good. But if he can work on his throws, if he can throw the ball before he sees somebody getting open, knowing when they're going to get open, because I have seen hesitation from him. I've seen a lot of hesitation from Lamar Jackson. If he can get better reads, he's going to be possibly one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But that is going to be tough for him. He has not shown to be a good passer recently. And that's something you kind of need from a quarterback. You can't just put a running back at quarterback. I mean, you can try, but in this game it showed that it's not going to work all the time. And yes, I know Lamar isn't just a running back.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to say that, but he's kind of been showing recently that he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't been as bad as Kendall Hinton for the Broncos, but he definitely needs to work on some stuff. But in his replacement, we had Huntley. After he got injured, we had Huntley come in 6 for 13, 60 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He also got in on the run game, got over 30 yards of rush yards. So not a bad replacement by Huntley, but still not able to come up with anything big there, and that's important. But Marquis Brown showing off his potential again, got 4 receptions for 87 yards, one of the fastest receivers, not the fastest obviously, but one of the faster receivers. Something big for the Ravens, 5 fumbles. They had 5.
You know how many they lost?
How many?
0.
Whew.
They were able to recover all of them, but it still hurt them. You just can't.
I mean, yeah, but
they're losing yards on those fumbles, but they recovered them.
But I mean, 5 fumbles, that just kills your momentum. It kills the mood on the team. You can't have that. Also, Justin Tucker, whenever they got in field goal range, he was 1 for 3 for the field goals.
Summing up with good kickers this weekend. I mean, Harrison Butker and Justin Tucker both missing field goals they're able to make.
Tyler Bass too. Tyler Bass of the Bills, he went 1 for 3 also.
That's just.
So that game, I was watching that and I was like, oh God, look at all these missed field goals, all these missed extra points. And then I watched the Chiefs game and it was all missed kicks again. But then I watched, what game was it? The last one, Tampa Bay versus New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay, so who's going to miss the first kick? I was just, every time they were kicking, I was like, okay, who's going to miss it? That game, they didn't have a single missed kick, which was very surprising compared to the last few games.
Yeah.
But let's get back to this game. Having all those missed kicks definitely hurt them. They couldn't capitalize on those chances. Yes, it would have only been 6 points, but I mean, having it 9-17.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you feel, hey, we only need 1 touchdown and a 2-point conversion. We can do this. Versus, oh God, we're down 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, and you've only got 3 points. That's you don't want that showing up.
With Lamar Jackson out, you're just hope's gone.
And then if we look at the Buffalo stat line, we had Josh Allen go 23 for 37. We had a lot of 20. We had 2 guys go 23 for 37, and another guy go 23 for 36.
Oh, yeah.
So some very similar stat lines here. But Josh Allen 23 for 37, got 206 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Not a great game by him. Definitely not. They only scored 17, but their defense came up huge.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all that matters. They came out with a dominant victory. Yes, not too many touchdowns, not too many points scored, but that's fine. The big question, though, was the run game. Devin Singletary was their best runner. He was 7 carries for 25 yards. 25 yards for their leading rusher.
It's not good.
That is awful. Although, to be fair, they picked it up on the passing game with Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs has been a monster this season.
I think he's a top 3 wide receiver. I said it.
I don't know.
I said it. Devontae, Tyreek. I forgot about DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go Devontae, DeAndre, Tyreek, and then Stephon.
Okay.
Top four.
Top 4. So
I kind of forgot about DeAndre. My bad. I apologize.
I could definitely see that now. I was like,
he didn't make the play. He didn't make the playoffs, so I kind of forgot about it.
Mm-hmm. Everyone at the beginning of the season was like Michael Thomas #1. Woo.
We're gonna get to his stat line against.
Oh yeah.
Buccaneers.
But yeah. So anyways, Stephon Diggs, absolute monster. But John Brown also not doing bad. 8 receptions for 62 yards. No touchdowns though, but still not bad. Not a bad game from those top 2 wide receivers for the Bills. On defense though, Taron. I think it's Taron. I'm gonna go Taron Johnson. Had 1 interception. That was a big interception for them. Yeah. And it was definitely.
You know that dude? The video of the dude getting hit by the ball in the combine.
Oh yeah, that was him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely turned his career around. Jerry Hughes. I didn't really know of him before I looked at the stat lines. No, he had 2 sacks though and came up big in that game. Definitely got Lamar not feeling good, and then I'm not exactly sure who gave him the concussion.
It might have been.
I don't. Think
it wasn't a sack, so.
I don't think it was.
What
But yeah. Anyway, 2 forced fumbles for the Buffalo team. They had 3 self-inflicted fumbles. So.
Yeah.
I mean, very good game for the defense of Buffalo, and their offense could definitely pick it up though. So anyway, with that, let's get on into our next game. The Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Cleveland Browns 22-17. This game, the first half looked like it was going to be a blowout.
It was. It was a blowout.
And to be fair, it was.
19-3. I mean, all momentum for the Chiefs. It's just not looking good for Cleveland.
Yeah, and you get into that second half and you don't start scoring. You didn't start off scoring, and so the Chiefs were just stalling on offense. And once they started stalling on offense, that Cleveland team started to feel some stuff. They're like, oh hey, we can stop this team.
Oh yeah,
they're beatable. And so they started, and their offense started picking it up a little. They scored 2 touchdowns,
and then down goes Mahomes.
And Mahomes goes down, and the Browns fans at home are going crazy.
They are riled up. They think they're gonna win.
They think they're going to the Super Bowl if they see this.
Chiefs fans they're down. Trust me, I was down. I was in a low point. I thought he was like a stage 5 concussion, if that's a thing. He just didn't look good. But then he runs back to this locker room, and it's like, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be able to play next week, but I don't want him playing this week.
Oh no!
Let Chad Henne do his thing.
And so yeah, I mean, if you looked at like the videos of it, they showed close-ups, and when he was getting up, his eyes looked like that.
I think he got knocked out. I think he got out. He got choked out. Is what I think.
I think that's more what it was. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a very severe concussion, but I think he'll be able to play next week.
And hopefully he does. And that'll definitely be a much better game.
Oh, yeah.
If Mahomes is able to play. Definitely much closer. I feel like if he's not there, unless Chad Henne shows something insane,
he goes full on Drew Brees, no interceptions, absolutely dominates it. Then I think it's over.
Yeah. But anyways, Patrick Mahomes, before he went out, he had 21 for 30, 255 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions.
It's a great stat line.
Definitely looked much better in the first half than he did in the second half, and then he got knocked out, and that came in Chad Henne, who ended up 6 for 8, 66 yards, no touchdowns, but 1 interception.
I think that interception he was just giving the Browns hope. He just threw it deep.
I think what he was thinking there, he was like, I just want to chuck it because if we can get this, they're dead. Like the Browns, they're done. And he's like, you know what? Let's get some momentum here.
Let's take a shot.
And even if he missed it, it was going to be only to the 25 yards, and he trusted his defense.
Their defense Their defense was unstoppable at the end of the fourth quarter. So, I mean, I would have trusted them too.
So, not necessarily the worst idea. Obviously, awful throw.
Oh, yeah.
But the idea even though there was coverage there for a 50-50 ball if he had gotten it in the right spot. Not a bad idea. But let's talk about Daryl Williams, 13 for 78. Not bad.
Very good Chiefs backup. I don't think he'll ever be a starter, but he is very good at being a backup.
Chiefs got definitely a few good running backs. But Le'Veon Bell, only 2 carries the whole game?
I think they're just going to give him a ring. I don't think he's doing that well. I think he's going to leave in free agency, but honestly, it was cool to sign him because he was Le'Veon Bell, and he had hype, but he's just not what he was in Pittsburgh.
He just definitely isn't. I mean, 2 carries, there was something up there. I don't know what it was, but he's definitely not looking very good. And also, Damian Williams, looking at coming back next year, might even push Daryl Williams even out of the rotation.
Yeah. I think Damian's going to come back. I mean, he opted out because I believe his mom had cancer, so he wanted to treat her, especially during COVID. And I respect that. I think he'll come back, get some money, and then be a Chief. So.
All right. So next stat line, we had Tyreek Hill, 8 receptions, 110 yards, 0 touchdowns though. I think not having any touchdowns was huge for the Browns there,
Definitely.
keeping Tyreek. Obviously, they didn't handle him, but they kept him from scoring in the red zone.
Oh, yeah.
Who they didn't stop, though, was Travis Kelce, 8 receptions, 109 yards, 1 touchdown, unstoppable.
Can't stop him.
I mean, even with Chad Henne in there, he was hitting Kelce. And besides him, McCole Hardman, 4 receptions, 58 yards. Not a bad game for him, having a good third option out there, definitely with Sammy Watkins missing the game as he was. And then on the defensive side, you had Tyrann Mathieu with 1 interception. You only had 1 sack, though, for the team, but still were able to get some pressure on them. And Harrison Butker, 3 for 4 for the field goal and 1 for 2 from extra point. I mean,
that man almost gave that game away. That would have gave us 4 more points, 26-17, I believe, would be the score. They wouldn't have been able to win. So Harrison Butker, work on your kicking for next week. I'm begging you. I don't want to have another heart attack.
I mean, Harrison Butker has not looked good this year. I mean, he how many extra points has he missed?
A lot. It's not a Chiefs game without Harrison Butker missing an extra point.
I mean, that's what it seems like.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think even at the Chiefs game I went to, he missed one. So yeah,
I mean, probably.
That was something. And then let's go on to the Browns though. Baker Mayfield, 23 for 37. Talking about that stat line, 23 for 37, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
He tried too hard to be great.
Yes, that I can definitely agree with. I think
he didn't need to force so many balls. He could have just taken the smart play, but he tried being Patrick Mahomes, and you're just not Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield.
And I didn't think it was a bad game.
It wasn't.
It just was.
Not a good game.
There were a lot of games this week.
Yeah.
What wasn't an game was Cody Parkey. Perfect. In the playoffs. Cody Parkey?
What? You know he's only missed 1 field goal in his playoff career?
Yeah, I saw that stat and I went, excuse me? And that 1 field goal, what was that field goal again?
I think it just went boink, boink. I think that's just what happened.
That one, yeah.
The same one that knocked the Bears out of the playoffs.
Oh,
they probably would have won the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just how I feel.
I don't know if they would have won the Super Bowl.
I think they might have won the Super Bowl.
They might have gotten it there.
I think they would have won it.
I don't know.
I think they would have won it. Their defense was good.
But still, Mitch Trubisky, though.
Nah, he got him there. That's all.
He did, okay. But he also got them to the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. But NFC was kind of weak.
But let's get on into some more of the stat lines. Their 2 running backs. Nick Chubb had 13 carries for 69 yards, nice, and 0 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, 6 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown.
That was not a good game by Kareem Hunt, especially after saying last week after beating Pittsburgh, they said next week was personal for me. You come out and only get 6 rushes for 32 yards. I mean, that 1 touchdown, you started sleeping on your pillow. Same thing you did against the Eagles back in, I think, 2018. You're not Kareem Hunt. You just aren't good anymore. I'm being honest, he's not good.
I think Kareem... in the playoffs...
In the playoffs, no. He's just Nick
great.
Chubb's backup.
Yeah.
I think the only reason he plays good is because they can only game plan for Nick Chubb and the Baker Mayfield. Kareem Hunt only rushes whenever Nick Chubb can't get going. Neither of them could get going.
And that definitely hurt them because they had a combined 90. That says 101 yards between the two of them. So not great for them. But on the receiving end, you had Rashard Higgins going off for 5 receptions, 88 yards. Pretty nice game for him.
Did have a fumble though that kind of cost him the game.
He did, yes, but
Dirty Dan Sorensen.
I wouldn't say that that's their. I wouldn't say that it was his fault that the game was.
No, it wasn't. But Dirty Dan Sorensen. Man.
And then David Njoku, 4 receptions for 59 yards, no touchdowns. I mean, not bad.
Better than Austin Hooper.
Definitely better than Austin Hooper, yes. And then besides that, Jarvis Landry, who was supposed to be their big acquisition last year, 7 receptions for 20 yards.
And a touchdown.
And a touchdown, yes, and I'm pretty sure that one was like an 18-yard touchdown, too.
I thought it was the close one near the red zone.
Or was it?
I think it was the close one.
Oh, yeah, I think it was. So, yeah, it was a
rough game.
It was he got a red zone touchdown.
I saw
yes.
some Browns fans saying that he was better than Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, sure, totally. All right, but on to the defensive side, you had Carl Joseph, who got an interception against Chad Henne. He got that deep throw. Definitely good pick there. But the thing is, they did not get too much pressure on the Chiefs. Their offensive line stood up and only 1 sack. So pretty poor defensive showing for the Browns there. Even though they did hold, it was the Kansas City Chiefs, but they kicked a lot of field goals.
That is
they did. They got down the field too.
You can't win. You can't beat the Chiefs by kicking field goals.
No, you can't.
That's simple.
And then let's get on into our final game of the week.
Speed run through this.
We had the Tampa Bay Bucks defeated the New Orleans Saints 30-20, and what was probably Drew Brees' last game, which is tough to say, but I mean all things must come to a close.
Really tough to say with that stat line. 19 for 34, 134 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Yikes!
That was okay. I have said that there were a lot of stat lines. This was an awful game from Drew Brees. Not just no, he was awful. There is no going around this. He looked like a man that was 42 years old.
Exactly.
He did.
He didn't look like an NFL quarterback.
He didn't. He looked like my dad going into work, working a 9 to 5 at 42 years old. You know, getting paid $50K a year. You know, he doesn't look like somebody that's getting paid $20 million a year or however much he was. He did not look good.
He didn't. And that's what caused them to lose. If they would have kept with Jameis Winston, like that one play they did, they could have had a better chance of winning. Drew Brees needs to retire. He is washed up.
That's just a fact. He is. But Jameis Winston in his one throw got 56 yards and a touchdown. He looked good on that throw. I think they'll be happy with sticking with him next season. I hope they stick with him over Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is good for trick plays. He is great for trick plays.
That's about it.
And he can do stuff, but he isn't a starting quarterback.
Oh, no way he is.
That's the problem. But
he's 30 years old too. That's the thing.
The age.
You don't want to start a 30-year-old.
Besides that, on the offensive side, you had Alvin Kamara, 18 carries for 85 yards, no touchdowns. He didn't look great. Definitely not great. He didn't look too good on the offensive side either. But again, he had basically half of the team's total yardage.
Oh, yeah.
It was not good. Besides that, you had Traquan Smith, though. Traquan Smith had a very nice game. 3 receptions, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's a great stat line for Traquan Smith.
Michael Thomas. You ready for this? This is gonna blow your mind. 0 receptions, 0 receiving yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 targets.
Wow.
Sure? I'm 100%.
Oh, man.
They just locked him down. There is no hope for him.
I don't know if they necessarily locked him down. I think that Michael Thomas was just trash that game. I think that the Tampa Bay Bucks, yes, they have a great defense, but I don't think it was all because of their defense that they stopped Michael Thomas. I think he looked like he was a 5th round drafted wide receiver who was just drafted last year and was almost out of the league, but for some reason got signed to the practice squad and is coming out because some guys got COVID.
He looked like Evan Ingram.
He did, yeah.
That's about it.
He just
didn't look good. No.
Emmanuel Sanders, 6 receptions, 48 yards, no touchdowns. not
Their
bad.
defense just underperformed. Only 1 sack on Tom Brady, and that was in the first half. You got to do better if you want to beat the Bucs.
1 sack and no interceptions too. They had plenty of opportunities. They had plenty of opportunities, and they just drop.
The only
no
reason
interceptions.
Tampa Bay won that game is because of the turnovers. 3 interceptions by Drew Brees. 1 for Murphy Bunting, 1 for White, and 1 for Edwards. Winfield had a forced fumble. They had 0 sacks, but they still had turnovers. Suck up, perfect. Absolutely beautiful game by him.
The Tampa Bay Bucs did not make errors that game. They stuck to their plan. They might not have had great offense. They might not have had anything, but they did not make errors. And the fact that they had 0 sacks, that shows me that I wouldn't say it was necessarily the offensive lines. I think the offensive line did great that game. And if it weren't for Drew Brees throwing all those interceptions,
Saints would have
making
won.
bad reads, the Saints would have won. I mean, the Tampa Bay Bucs wouldn't have done that well. I don't think their defense would have done that well. But on the offensive side, you had Leonard Fournette actually kind of going off. He had 17 carries for 63 yards, no touchdowns rushing, but he did have 5 receptions for 44 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown. So a total of 107 yards from scrimmage, 1 touchdown, 22 touches. Very nice game from Fournette. Definitely seeing him look more like that 4th overall pick from a couple years ago. I think that comes with time though, and I was expecting that, but I wasn't quite expecting this. You know. Ronald Jones also, he wasn't completely out of the game either. He had 13 carries, 62 yards, no touchdowns. They didn't have any rushing touchdowns, but they did what they needed to. Rojo got the ball moving, so did Fournette, and that's all you needed. And then Cameron Brate on the receiving side, 4 receptions for 50 yards, no touchdowns. Chris Godwin, 4 receptions for 34 yards, no touchdowns. Not great, but even worse than him, Mike Evans, 1 reception for 3 yards and a touchdown.
With a touchdown.
He did have a touchdown.
A touchdown
That
mattered.
was his only reception.
Touchdown mattered.
Touchdown mattered. Touchdown hugely mattered.
Oh, yeah.
But if you just show up and just say, I'm going to play this one drive, I'm going to be done.
I'm going to get a touchdown. That's all that matters. If you get the touchdown, you're good. Because that's what won them the game, essentially. Because I feel like Drew Brees could have led a 4th quarter drive down the field and gotten a field goal, and they would have tied it up, gone to OT. We all know Tom Brady probably would have won the toss.
Not
sure.
this Drew Brees.
Maybe.
Not this Drew
He's
Brees.
still got that leadership. I believe he could have.
He's got leadership, but unless he was benched and is coaching Jameis Winston, and he tries to push him, then I could see that. But
all right, let's
and then Tom Brady's stat line, he had 18 for 33, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice game from him.
Beautiful.
Definitely a good game. And with that, I think that is going to end up our last week's matchups. And so we will get on into our best performances. All right, so for our best performances, first off, I'm going to read off mine. Did you choose any different best performances?
No, I agreed with you 100%.
All right, so let's get started off here. We had the best quarterback of the week. We had Aaron Rodgers, 23 for 36, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Great game for him. He led that Packers team to destroy the Rams.
I would have liked to see less incompletions because that's just not who Aaron Rodgers is. He is precision passing. He is little incompletions, no interceptions. He had no interceptions, but 13 incompletions, that's more of a Jared Goff stat. It's like Jared Goff and Aaron Rodgers flipped the incompletions.
It definitely could have been a better performance, but he still was definitely the best quarterback of this week. I think the defense has showed up a lot. But best wide receiver, we had Stephon Diggs this week. 8 receptions, 106 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Thought about giving it to Tyreek Hill, who had 110 yards for 8 receptions, but no touchdowns. No touchdown.
No.
Help your team win. Best running back of the week. We're giving that to Aaron Jones. 14 carries for 99 yards and a touchdown. Thought about Fournette again, who had 106 total yards, but Aaron Jones was better all around and definitely huge in setting up the PA pass for the Aaron Rodgers to basically get that huge performance and destroy the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
And then finally, best tight end. I mean, it's been the best. He's been the best tight end every single week of the season.
He's the best tight end in the NFL.
He might be the best tight end ever. I think he is.
By the time his career ends, he will be the best tight end of all time. And no one's ever going to come close.
No.
He's just so destructive. You can't stop him.
You can't guard him. He's a good blocker, too.
You can't put a linebacker on him because he's as good as a wide receiver. You can't put a cornerback on him. You can't run zone because if you run a cornerback on him, Tyreek Hill's just going to get open. But if you run zone, he's just going to find that soft spot in the middle of the field, and Mahomes is just going to fling it to him. You can't stop him.
No, it's true. You just can't. 8 receptions for 109 yards, 1 touchdown. And that is just his normal stat line. You look at that and you're like, oh yeah, that's Kelce.
That's Travis Kelce.
But I mean, and you look at the rest of the guys on the team who are getting, Tyreek Hill is getting 100 yards a game too.
Exactly.
McCole Hardman is getting 50 yards a game.
It's just,
they're running the ball too. Well, not really. But it kind of.
I mean, they were missing their best running back, so.
Yeah. And then, that's going to clear out our offensive. But for debuting this weekend in the playoffs, we have our best performance for the defensive side. We have our best defensive back. We picked Sean Murphy-Bunting. 2 passes defended, 1 interception, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. I think great game, and he was huge in stopping that Saints offense and making Drew Brees feel like he was a trash quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And if it weren't for him, I don't know if the Saints probably would have won that game, if I'm being honest.
I think if Drew Brees wouldn't have thrown in 3 interceptions, it would have been Saints by 10.
Mm-hmm. And Murphy-Bunting very well there. And then best defensive lineman, we give it to another Tampa Bay Buccaneer. We had Devin White, 11 tackles, 1 tackle for loss and an interception for a middle linebacker. And that was huge for him. He stuffed that middle area for the Saints. And him and Murphy-Bunting together, I mean, that was a great defensive performance. And we could have given it to somebody on the Bills, but I think that those two guys just showed out. And so with that, that's going to close out our best performances for the week. And let's get on into our breakouts of the week. All right, so we're going to start off with quarterback, and my pick for breakout quarterback of the week is going to be Chad Henne versus Buffalo. I do think Mahomes is going to play.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't think they want to play him all game.
They don't.
If he is coming back a week after getting a concussion, yes, he might be cleared, but they're going to want to play it safe. They want him for the Super Bowl. They're going to try and build a lead with Mahomes,
100%.
and then they're going to take him out, and they're going to let Chad Henne run until he can't anymore. And I think that's going to make Henne be good versus the Buffalo Bills.
I got Brady versus Green Bay. And the reason I'm saying this is because he's an experienced quarterback in the cold. He played in Boston for 20-ish years. And he has played playoff games in Boston. He knows how to play in the cold. So does Aaron Rodgers, but Brady wins in the cold. Because Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have a good playoff track record. But Brady, he does. After seeing what he did against the Saints defense, you can only imagine what he's going to do versus the Packers. I got Brady. I think he's going to do great.
I definitely disagree with that, but we will get on into why whenever we talk about him later. And so let's get on into our running back breakouts of the week. My running back breakout of the week is A.J. Dillon versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that the Packers offense is going to be rolling versus the Bucs comparatively to the Saints, who had Drew Brees at quarterback and had Michael Thomas pretending to be a wide receiver. The Packers have a real team. I think they're going to perform much better against the Tampa Bay Bucs. And I think A.J. Dillon will be a big part of that because I don't think they're going to be... I think they're going to want to use his power running, like I mentioned earlier. I think they're going to want to use that a little more often than they're going to want to use Aaron Jones' elusiveness and receiving prowess because I think that if they're able to break through that defensive line of the Bucs, it's going to be very good. Let's hear who was your...
I'm going to go Daryl Williams versus Buffalo. I don't know if Clyde's going to play. Even if he does, I feel like Daryl Williams is just going to have an absolute ball of a game. I know last time the Chiefs played Buffalo, Clyde had his breakout game. He ran all over him. But I think this time, Daryl Williams is going to finally prove that he deserves a chance to start. Maybe not in Kansas City, but somewhere. Because he's a good running back. And I think this game against Buffalo is going to show. Because they don't know what to game plan for. They don't know whether to game plan for Mahomes or whether to game plan for the run game. Because Chad Henne might play.
All right, and let's get on into our wide receiver breakouts of the week. For me, I said that the Packers were going to be rolling, so I got Allen Lazard versus the Buccaneers. I think they're going to be good on Davante Adams. I think they're going to be focusing on Davante Adams, which yes, that's going to hurt us. But we have the Packers have some other options. They have Allen Lazard, they have Marquez Valdes-Scantling, they have Robert Tonyan, and they have Aaron Jones if they need to throw to him. They have options on offense. Yes, they're not Davante Adams. They aren't. And they're not as good as the Tampa Bay Bucs wide receivers, like Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans. They're not as good as them. But I think that they're good, and with Aaron Rodgers manning that quarterback and the way he has looked this season, Lazard is going to break out this week.
See, I had Lazard, but just recently I changed it to Mecole Hardman. I realized that the Bills were going to lock up Tyreek Hill with Tre'Davious White. And they're obviously going to get Kelsey involved, but I think Mecole Hardman's going to take a next step into his game and prove that he is a playoff caliber wide receiver. I feel like he's going to get a decent amount of yardage, at least one touchdown, because I think he's going to be able to show that he's a good wide receiver. Because Tyreek Hill's going to be locked up by Tre'Davious White, kind of like Davante Adams and Allen Lazard. I got Hardman.
All right. So let's get on into our final breakouts of the week. At tight end, I have Cameron Brate versus Green Bay. I think it was really an easy pick here because basically you're between Dawson Knox and Cameron Brate because
Can't pick
Kelsey isn't going to break out. He's not going to get 250 yards. That's the only thing that would be considered a breakout.
Exactly.
250 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a breakout for Kelsey. But that's not going to happen. That's very hard to do. And then for the Packers, you could have picked Tonyan. But Tonyan has been very consistently good all season. Well, not good, but like 70 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like every game. He's not Kelsey. But you can't really expect too much, but you're not going to expect too little. So you could pick him, but he's not somebody that I'm going to go with. And then you've got Dawson Knox on the Bills who, no, Dawson Knox is not somebody I want. So yeah, you're going with Cameron Brate, who definitely showed up last game, had a pretty good performance, and I think he's going to show up a lot over Gronk.
Yeah.
I think Gronk is going to be there, but I think he's going to be more of a decoy than actually important.
I picked Brate as well. I couldn't pick Kelsey, didn't want to pick Knox, and I didn't want to pick Tonyan because you'll see later on. I didn't think Gronk was going to do good. I mean, I just had to go with Brate. There's no other really option that I think, because I think Gronk will be like a main blocker, but I think Brate's going to be able to get open versus Green Bay.
All right, and with that, we're done with our breakouts of the week, so let's get on into our disappointment players. All right, so starting off at the quarterback position, I have Tom Brady versus Green Bay. Tom Brady, he did okay last game. He had only 199 yards. Yes, that was all they needed to win, but only 199 is not going to cut it versus Aaron Rodgers. And I think that Brady might try starting to force some stuff downfield. And with the secondary of the Packers, they have Jair Alexander, they have Kevin King, they have Adrian Amos. I think he's
an experienced quarterback.
He is a very experienced quarterback.
He's not going to make these throws because I don't believe they're going to get a lot of pressure on him.
I think they will. Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, all 4 of them are very good at pressuring that quarterback.
This is where Cameron Brate comes in hand. He's going to be a little check down, and they're going to be able to get it.
I think yes, Cameron Brate will be a good check down, but I also feel like the Packers will be able to lock up, and just having check down passes all game long isn't going to work. That's not going to cut it. Not against the Packers and their high-flying offense. So that's why I've got Brady there, and also I don't feel Mahomes is going to be there.
I guess you could.
But I think everybody already has their doubts on him.
Yeah.
Even if he does play, I mean, they know that he did just get concussed.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
They're not expecting too much from him.
Yeah.
All right, and then your disappointment quarterback?
Josh Allen versus Kansas City. I know Josh Allen's a good quarterback, but just the way he played last game against Baltimore. And the Chiefs' playoff defense is it's so much better than the regular season. And Allen didn't do very good in the regular season against Kansas City. Sure, he's grown, but I feel like it's the same matchup. Allen versus Kansas City defense. Kansas City's defense is going to get pressure, and that's the only way they're going to be able to win. And I feel like they can. I feel like Allen's going to force throws to Stephon Diggs. L'Jarius Sneed is going to get an interception. That's what I feel.
You see, the thing is, last time they faced, I don't think he had a mustache.
Does he still have his mustache?
Yes, sir.
I think he has a beard now, though.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, that's even better.
I don't know. I think the beard's going to mess him up.
I think, nah, the beard is what makes you good.
No, it's definitely the mustache.
I think yeah, he definitely has a beard.
Oh, yeah, I know. He definitely has a beard. It's not going to look good for him now. I think
he's going to do well because of it.
You're crazy.
But anyway, into our next disappointment players. At running back, I have Devin Singletary versus Kansas City. As he mentioned, the Kansas City Chiefs defense in the postseason is seemingly much better than in the regular season. I think that's a huge part to their defensive line, definitely stepping it up. And Devin Singletary, technically he's the starter. Yeah. But 25 yards last week? Yeah, no, I can't trust that. I just can't.
I'm going to go with Jones versus Tampa Bay. I mean, A.J. Dillon's going to perform. And I think they're going to focus on Aaron Jones. And he's just not going to be able to find these holes and make these plays, little jukes that he does. I feel like he's going to underperform by a lot. And I think the Bucs are finally going to be able to stop the run. They did against Kamara. I think they can do it against Jones.
I think they could, but I definitely see more of a Singletary disappointment here. But on to our disappointment wide receivers. I had John Brown versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, he did pretty good last week. But John Brown, he's the secondary option going up against that Chiefs defense. I think they're going to be able to defend against that. Once they start pressuring Josh Allen, he's not going to be making too many throws, and he's going to be focusing more on getting it to Stephon Diggs more than anything else. It's going to be the Stephon Diggs show if they do get the ball moving. Yeah. So
I'm going to go Mike Evans versus Green Bay. We saw what he did last week, and I feel like people think he's going to finally be able to do better because I think they're going to put Jair Alexander maybe on Godwin because Mike Evans isn't as fast. But I think Mike Evans is just going to underperform them. Maybe he gets 1 reception, 2 yards in a touchdown, maybe 4 yards. I don't know. I just don't think he's good. I don't think he's good during the playoffs.
He hasn't been good this season. Let's put that out there. He has not been good. He's been okay.
I had him on my fantasy team. He has done some good games, but he's been pretty overrated, yeah.
And then finally, let's get into our disappointment tight ends. I have Gronk versus the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Gronk, as we mentioned earlier, he's probably going to be more used as a decoy, as a blocker. I think Cameron Brate is going to be getting more of the tight end receptions, and I just don't really like the thought of Gronk against that team. And Brady's got a lot more options than Gronk.
I'm going to go with Robert Tonyan versus Tampa Bay. I mean, he's had a good season, don't get me wrong, but I think he's going to start to decline starting now. I think this game is going to prove that he isn't a top-tier wide receiver. Tight end. But I think he's just not going to be able to do well against this Bucs defense. That's just how I feel.
Okay. All right. Well, with that's going to close out our disappointment players. So let's get on to our newest section, the path to the Super Bowl. All right. So the path to the Super Bowl here, we got some good things here. Basically, what does each team need to do to win this game and get to that Super Bowl?
I'm going to go first this time.
All right. Let's go ahead.
For Green Bay, they can't turn the ball over, and they're going to have to capitalize off of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers' errors. If the Bucs turn the ball over, Aaron Rodgers needs to score. He can't settle for a field goal because the Bucs aren't going to.
You see, the thing is, I think that the Bucs will take field goals, but I think the important thing here for the Pack is use the run game. Set up the run game so that you can set up play-action pass. Aaron Rodgers has been great playing PA, and I think that's important. As long as you keep up playing PA, doing those PA passes, Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to perform extremely well. and they're going to try and stop that run more and more often throughout the game as you start showing that you're a running team.
Yeah.
And then that's going to open up so many passes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they have a good secondary, but if they start leaving that secondary to blitz, or if they start trying to change it around in order to stop the run, it's going to leave some receivers more open. And I think that's huge for the Packers here.
And we're going to move on to Tampa Bay. For them to win, they need to get in Aaron Rodgers' face, and they need to get momentum quickly, and they can't slip away from that momentum. They need to have this momentum the entire game, because that's the only way they're going to win. Because if Aaron Rodgers takes his momentum away from you, scores like 3 touchdowns, you, in a blink of the eye, you're like, huh? What happened? You need to get in his face and make sure that he gets down on the ground, throws horrible passes, throw it away. Do not let him get 2 to 3 yards on a first down to set up some PA on a rush. You need to predict that is coming.
Mm-hmm. I think a big thing. Both teams have all the momentum in the world heading into this game. I think the Bucs just showed that they stuffed that Saints team on defense, and they have been hot coming into the playoffs. I think the Packers too. Their offense has been amazing heading here. But I think really the important thing for the Tampa Bay Bucs, they got to maintain that momentum. Whoever loses that momentum first is probably going to lose.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing, the Bucs got to be good on offense. They have to start off hot on offense, keep that momentum up from last game, and that's the only way you're going to beat this Packers team.
All right, we're going to move on to Kansas City. I need for Kansas City to win. It's hypothetical because there's 2 situations. There's one with Henne and then there's one with Mahomes. I'm going to start with Henne, or actually Mahomes. Sack Josh Allen. Do not let him make plays on you. You can't do that. He's going to scramble around like Deshaun Watson did last year in the divisional. He's going to do what Russell Wilson does. You just can't let it happen. You need to get him on the ground. Frank Clark, get him on the ground. Hustle. And if Henne were to play, you need to get the offense rolling all game long. You can't stall. You need to score almost every possession with this Bills team. It's pretty simple.
Definitely very important. And I think, really, if it's Mahomes in, I think the defense needs to make sure that they keep against the pass.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they need to make sure that they're not letting Stephon Diggs get the ball. They're not letting John Brown get the ball. Those are your 2 big worries. Once you get them on defense, you're good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty good. But if Mahomes isn't there and you're playing with Henne, I think the big thing, keep the offense rolling and hope that the defense stays pretty close up. Like, you need your run game with Henne in. You are really hoping that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, you're just going to hope that Daryl Williams does as good as he can.
Yeah.
He definitely did show that he can carry the ball a lot last game. And you got to hope that he's able to carry that into this game. And otherwise, you're going to have a very tough time against this Bills team.
We're going to move on to Buffalo. And
all right.
This is a very simple game plan for Buffalo. You have a good head coach who's able to game plan. And there's just one thing you need to do to beat Kansas City. And that's pray to God Mahomes doesn't play. You can't beat Kansas City if Mahomes plays. It's simple. Mahomes is just the best quarterback in the league. I mean, you just can't beat him. The team is too good. You can't stop him like you did against Baltimore. And if Mahomes doesn't play, you have a better chance of winning. You'll be able to game plan. But I just think that they can't beat Mahomes. They just can't.
I think that Mahomes will make it extremely tough for any team to beat. But I think that the main point of attack for the Buffalo Bills, they got to reboot the offense because 17 points, they won by 14, yes, but 17 is not a good offensive production. And I think the big part, get the running backs involved.
Oh, yeah.
Get the run play because they're not going to respect that run game at all. I mean, 25 yards from your leading rusher, that's not something you care about. You don't even care about the run game if you see that.
Exactly.
You're just like, oh, okay, that's there. Let's work on defending John Brown and Stephon Diggs. But once you start to get the running backs involved, then you can finally start opening up your offense a little more. You'll start getting down the field, and you'll start to get some more points. And then I think the second big point here is if Mahomes does play, get some nameless guys and just get targeting calls until he's injured.
That's something Buffalo would do. The Browns were celebrating Mahomes getting hurt. That's just a classless move by Cleveland. I respected you guys for getting in the playoffs, but the fact that you're celebrating a dude getting concussed, disgusting.
There isn't really another chance to. It's much harder to win with Mahomes, and I think
he just has that X factor
the Bills are called the Bills Mafia for a reason.
Oh my gosh!
Patrick Mahomes, if you do play, be very careful.
Let him live, man.
Just don't put him in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. All right, and with that, I think that's gonna end out our path to the Super Bowl. And let's get on into the part we've all been waiting for: our weekly predictions.
All right.
All right. So, first game, 2:00 next Sunday, Green Bay versus Tampa Bay. I got the Green Bay Packers here. I'm trusting in my man Aaron Rodgers here. Aaron Rodgers is going to carry that team. He's going to carry that offense, and it's going to continue its high-flight offense. They just beat the best defense in the league. They scored 32 against them.
They beat the best defense. Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey missed their flight to Green Bay. That was not their best showing. But for my prediction, as much as I want to pick the MVP of the National Football League, I can't. I have to go with the Buccaneers. I believe Tom Brady has more experience in playoffs. He's a better playoff quarterback with all his new weapons and defense. I just think he's going to get it done.
I think the thing here is you aren't it's not a experienced vet versus a rookie.
Aaron Rodgers not good during the playoffs.
Aaron Rodgers has plenty of playoff experience. Yes,
he's 11-8.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Those are good teams.
Brady has 32 wins in the playoffs.
Yes, he also has had much better teams than Aaron Rodgers.
But the fact that he's making the playoffs, he really hasn't. He's played with a bunch of no-name Walmart D4 wide receivers. It's just he makes them look good. I think Brady's gonna get it done.
Okay, but with that, we're gonna get on into our the last game, the 5:30, I think it is.
5-ish, yeah.
5:30 on Sunday. You have Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. I think this one, I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning. I think Mahomes will play. I think he will, even if he only plays, say, a half. I think that's enough to get them started. Mm-hmm. Having Mahomes come in is going to be huge. Even if they don't have Mahomes, I think they still have a chance. Mm-hmm. They have a chance. I think it's probably going to go to Buffalo if Mahomes ain't play at all. But if he plays even 2 snaps, I think that's huge for the Chiefs because they see him coming back and they see, oh yeah, we got this.
Oh yeah.
And they're good. But other than that, it's going to be tough for them to win. But I think the Chiefs will pull this one out.
I've picked the underdog already once. But I'm not doing it again. I'm going with the Chiefs by 14. I believe back in the 90s, it was Chiefs, Bills, AFC Championship game. Chiefs had Joe Montana. Bills had Jim Kelly. Bills won, but they lost the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs are finally getting their revenge on that game. I believe that Mahomes, even if he doesn't play, the Chiefs can still win. Because in that Week 17 game against the Chargers, they didn't have any of their great superstars playing. And he still was able to put up a decent amount of points. I believe Chad Henne is going to lead the Chiefs to a victory. Maybe by 3, but if Mahomes plays, it's going to be by 14. I believe that the Chiefs and the Buccaneers will play in the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay.
All right, and I say Kansas City Chiefs versus Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl.
Is there any bias there?
Potentially a little bit towards the Packers. Potentially. But generally, I do actually think that the Packers are the better team.
They have a good chance. Yes, I do. But I feel like the Buccaneers will be able to get it done. And if they don't, I won't be surprised because I think the Packers are a very good team. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP.
All right, and with that is going to end out our first episode of the Full of Football podcast.
Yep.
So we would like to thank you so much for watching this. If you did enjoy this, please drop a like. Make sure to subscribe. Again, I've been Austin Thomas.
I'm Connor Lewick.
And we hope that you have a great rest of your night. Peace.